Hi guys and girls, actually, if there's girls following. This is Stones. I'm gonna review my month of January, first month of the year. What were my mistakes? Basically a little bit of where my trades went, etc. To be able to explain what was my main mistake this month, I have to explain this pattern. It's a pattern that I noticed during the tariff drop, and it's just been repeating again and again, and I think it's really a pattern that is worth remembering and watching for on the higher time frames. I'm just going to run you through it because I have to explain this pattern to be able to explain what I did wrong. So let's go back to the tariffs, and now I'll explain to you how I ended up noticing this pattern. Here was the top of the tariffs. We had this big flush. Price was just consolidating this whole time. And I remember vividly here being overly bullish. And then this just dropped suddenly. And I thought this was just a flush before we would just keep going. Only thing price did is just retest and drop further. And then I didn't really pay attention to the pattern itself at this time. But when this happened here, it's not as clean, but we had this consolidation, this move up, and boom, this big flush. And we were consolidating here. And I'm really good at recognizing patterns, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before, and I'll go back in time and back test, and I'll try to remember where it was. I like to recognize patterns in price. And then when this one's consolidating, I was, I got trapped the same way, thinking here we were going to go long, that this was a low, trap traders, big flush, consolidation, just to move higher. I'm like, oh, this is exactly like last time. We're going to drop again. And this point here is actually when I sold all my portfolio in crypto and never bought back anything. I know, sold pretty much the low. I sold at a big loss, but I'm happy because I did execute on prior pattern, and I'm like, let me sell there, even if that's at a big loss, and I'll protect myself because I'm pretty sure that drop is going to come. And this is what happened. I don't really regret not buying back in because honestly, the altcoins didn't go crazy far from that point, and I wasn't exposed to Bitcoin anymore. So this pattern here, if you can see, you have this drop, and then here are my wicks at the bottom, and you have 1 week, 2 week, or you count this one, 3 weeks. I'm on the 4 hour up here, and you have this retest of the 200 EMA 4 hour. You have that drop, that round top, and that drop here. This is what happened up there, where you had the drop, 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, touch the 400, drop, round top, and drop. And if you look back in time at the prior cycle, even, this is exactly what happened at the top as well. This is the prior cycle high. If you look same time frame, same pattern, you have the big flush, 1, 2, 3 weeks consolidation, retest of the 200. You have a final damage M formation here. First drop, retest of the 50 EMA, and then second drop. And if you come back to this cycle top, it's the exact same pattern, but this time I recognized it. So this is 2025 top. You have the big flush, 1, 2, 3 weeks, and you have that M retest here. Drop, round top under the 50, and the second drop. It's so obvious, and it just repeats again and again. And obviously, because they're correlated, it's the same thing on Ethereum. This is pretty much the same pattern. The only difference you'd have is at this point here, Ethereum didn't take this high when Bitcoin did, which is why they often have this divergence, and it's a good indicator of price changing direction. And I would say most of the time, even on smaller time frames, Bitcoin is the one that is doing the sweep. Like, I haven't backtested it to tell you like how many percent of the time, but I'd say easily 70% of the time, Bitcoin is the one that is sweeping. Even if you look at the cycle top here, see the difference here? Bitcoin did a high when Ethereum did a lower high here for the cycle top. So you have this divergence here. And so as you can see here as well, during the tariff drops on Ethereum, you can witness the same thing on 4-hour drop. 1, 2, 3 week retest. This one was a straight drop. Didn't get much of a retest here of the 50 EMA. Similar thing here with like the 3 weeks consolidation. Same, wasn't an ideal entry and wasn't really easy at all to get this one. But you can clearly see that it's a pattern that is repeating. And this is because of that pattern that I made a mistake this month. So in November, this setup, like I just said, was really clean on Bitcoin. It actually didn't even drop straight away like we did recently or on other setups. We actually broke, retested, so it was even a better entry here. And sadly, in November, I was really busy, and this was exactly at the start of November. I did take a trade here, and I don't know why I took it on BitTensor Tau, and it's the only asset that stopped me out on my small stop loss before shooting down. It was a shame. I don't know why I didn't trade Bitcoin or Ethereum. But the mistake I did in November is I'm so focused on my smaller time frames because this is how I like to trade. It helps me when we're in that shop, which is 80% of the time market will be consolidating, and then maybe 20 you'll have those big drops. So I'm very conservative with my targets. I like to have small entries, get out within my session, and I sort of struggle with a higher time frame, to be honest. It's not that I struggle, it's just I do not like it because I'm never sure about the intent and the direction of price. But my lesson in November was that because I recognized this pattern and it was easy, there's nothing stopping me from taking this trade on a higher time frame and letting it play in the background, and boom, you got a 3.5 trade wherever your entry is. You don't have to be picky, even if it's down there after this retest. It's still a 2-hour trade. It plays over many days or a week, for example, here. But it's a secure trade because I know the model and I know it's going to play out. And I got too caught up into the smaller time frames, and I just didn't even get a win. And then all this year I was traveling anyway, the whole month of November with friends. So November wasn't a good month for trading. And after this month in November, the next time this happens, and I'm sure about my time frame, do not make the mistake of not going to the 1 hour or the 4 hour and entering your trade there. Do it next time, wherever your entry is. Because I regret so much about this one. And I knew about the retest, and I told some friends that this is what I was seeing, and that I sort of knew what was going to happen. And I think even during that retest, I didn't even enter on that retest and I wasn't part of it. And so here, this month, it took me a while to realize that this was the same pattern. You have your drop, sort of creates a W, and then you have pushes up until it grabs the liquidity. It drops, a retest, and it drops again and takes that low. As I struggle because usually it's on the 4 hour and it takes those 3 weeks here in the middle, and it's always been the case in all the patterns I've seen backtesting. And it seems like this one simply happened on the 12-hour time frame. I was looking at it here, but I didn't like the time frame, and then we ended up pushing higher, so I sort of stopped looking at it, and I was like, this is not it. If I look here, it's really similar. And so my mistake here is I know we don't always have that information. There is times where it's just a spike and it drops and a retest of that 50. But because I wasn't so sure of the setup because of the time frame, I failed here as well I wanted to get my entry, and because of this sharp drop, I thought it was too late. But if I had taken the trade here, realizing, okay, I think this is the setup anyway, the trade was still here, and it's a big mistake, because I said to myself in November, next time this happens, you don't make the mistake of not jumping to the higher time frame and taking that background trade. And I didn't do it this month. I did not do it, It was the same on Ethereum. See, like what I talked about last time is here you have Bitcoin take those highs, but Ethereum doesn't, and you have that divergence once again. So I missed this move because I might get too caught up into the small time frame to arrange to get an entry. And then when this move happened, I'm waiting for the retest. And I'm not going to miss the retest. The retest is the one, the retest we had here. And it didn't come exactly the way I wanted it to come, which is to come maybe that high and down and round. And I had this idea of it doing like this and dropping on the Sunday, because it did happen a fair bit as well. And this was the weekend here, this gap, and we did not even go up there on Ethereum. We just started dropping, so I missed this entry. And then here on Bitcoin, this week here, I just felt like it wasn't enough before the weekend. And this week here is the same mistake. I see price coming back up. I'm thinking we're gonna take this high and go back a little bit higher before dropping. And Bitcoin doesn't, but ETH does it. It's that Friday high. And I see the reversal. I see FOMC. I see the drop. I'm waiting for my entry. I make the mistake of not entering in the dead gap zone before Asia. But even after Asia, we were still here. And it was still worth for me to open a higher time frame short to get to those lows. And same on Bitcoin. And to trade from here, target those lows. It was a beautiful trade to take on the high time frame, on the 1 hour. Yeah, just once again caught up into the small time frame. Forget about the higher time frame, because at this point I'm pretty sure that we're gonna drop, because I know my pattern and I know how everything works. Happened twice that I make this mistake. Maybe 3 times even. I mean, it's okay. It's learning. I can't process from the very first go to implement a new habit. It takes a bit of time. I think once you do a mistake twice or 3 times, you're more likely to not make it again. I might do it again. I know in trading it's really difficult. It takes months to get rid of some habit or try to implement something else. In real life, you touch the stove, you get burned, you probably won't do it again. You might do it again by accident. I feel like in trading, it just takes more and more repetition for you to realize something and not do it again. It's my main mistake this week. It was definitely here. Just playing that higher time frame again. Other than that, I've had a win this month, which is good news. I had no wins in December. It's still a red month. Not what I wanted. I would have liked to be green. It is what it is. 3rd month, 4th month, because October was red as well a little bit. It was sort of break even. But November, December, January, red. I had a green trade, which is good, because the last really good one was in 21st of October. Both came onto smaller size, which is something I need to fix. Just have always the same size. If I look at my R results, it's okay. Like I'm not having the wins I want to have, but my downside is very controlled. So I'm down 4.5 R for the month. If I go back to December, similar. It's not dramatic. This is recoverable in 1 or 2 trades, 1 or 2 good trades. November was a bit more. October was actually green on the R result, but it was red on the dollar result because my risk was changing so much. What I like to do when I'm having those losing weeks and month in that case is I'll go back what happened over the last 6 months. Okay, so from here to here, what's my result there? And if I look at the R result, I'm positive. If I look at the dollar result, I'm just, like sort of break even, which is this is in the description of my bio. It's like where I think I'm sitting, even if before these last 3 months I have been slightly profitable. I just don't call myself slightly profitable, just call myself break even. But it's good to look back on the higher time frame, and you see how this I was trading with more size. From this November, I dropped my size a bit because I was in drawdown on the evaluation. I didn't want to buy another one, so I just dropped my risk a lot. And December, I was pretty much paper trading. I think it was $200 or $300 left on my funded account, and on the evaluation, I was trading at the same time. And all I wanted was just keep practicing with that much money, so I was risking $20, $30. That's why all this here is so small. And then January, I've got that new evaluation where I'm risking 0.5%. That's why all my risk here is about $500. And it's really good because in sort of the downfall, in that struggle or drawdown or whatever you want to call it, just look back and see, okay, my trading is improved. I'm refining a lot of stuff that are not working. When you're winning, you're not refining anything. I don't think so. So it's only through struggles and hardship that you are growing as a person, as a trader. And the only thing I can look at now is see, like for example, August. I was still trading a little bit of my own money with the prop firm, and I was on evaluation. September was a little bit of my own money, and then the rest was on the funded account. So I took some payouts in here. That's why the amounts are so big, because I wasn't trading that $500 risk with my own money. I was at $100 to $200 risk. The thing I want to look at is see how December was like 1, 2, 4 trades per week. This month as well was pretty similar, like 3 trades, 4 trades, 4 trades. This is just an entry, and that's the exit, just over 2 days. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's ideal for me. Between 2 and 4 trades a week, it's really good. What I can look at is that maybe 6 months ago from now, I was taking way too many trades. I was still trading altcoins, and if I look into details at all my trades, there's probably a lot of trades that I would not take now. So that's why I say when I think my trading is on point is I'm not seeing wins, but I'm not digging a massive hole for myself, and everything is controlled. It's small losses on a R perspective. Like per week since December, I think I didn't get more than 3 R loss for the week, which is, I've got my limit is capped at 4 losses for the week, but I think I didn't even get to 3 R loss. It was like 1.5, 2, 3, and I know that I can erase those losses in a couple winning trades. So this is all good, and this is all good progress. The second thing I'm really happy about is that new rule I implemented about approaching my prop firm, which I explained in my previous video. It's a 6% max drawdown, and I was risking 1%, so it was only giving me 6 losses before I had to lower my size or just have to pay for other evaluation. And what I did this month, January, is that I'm starting my evaluation with half the risk, so I'm risking 0.5%. So that gives me 12 losing trades in a row before I breach the evaluation and the account. And if I look at what I've done this month so far, I'm at 3K, which is, considering it's half the size, if I went full size and I didn't lower my risk and I kept that 1% all the time, I would have breached this evaluation, or I would be like really close to breach that evaluation. I could not place another trade. So this is good, good feedback on, okay, what that idea I had is protecting me now, and I'm way more relaxed as well, given that I have all this room of 12 losing trades. I'm still half within my max drawdown, so I'm just going to keep going this way. Hopefully February will get a better behavior. like I said, all the bad things that happened, it's just things I'm growing on, and I'm refining my approach. I think everything's gonna line up, and I'm gonna be able to get back into that rhythm, that good rhythm I had, prior to September, prior to October. I'm keen to get back to this behavior because I was slightly profitable there. This period here is um, synonymous to growth because, first of all, mentally, there's a lot of progress. I'm not affected that much by this losing streak. I'm just sticking to my plan. I'm not digging myself a big hole. I'm not trying to revenge trade or something. I just let probabilities work out. And okay, I take my 1-2 hour loss per week, but it's okay. It doesn't affect me that much. It was affecting me in November, December for sure, because it was the first time in my whole journey that I was having that many consecutive losses and that long of a period without even a win. Like you see here, that was the last biggest wins this whole time. And when things are gonna line up again, I'm gonna be even better than this whole period where I was slightly profitable. You see how there was days where I was probably losing control, had more in a day than what I should have lost. Like usually it's like I've got a 2 loss max per day. I've never risked more than $500, so I don't know why I went down to that much on that day, for example, on those 2 days. But here you see like $1,000, and most of the other times just that $500 because I was on a 50K account and I was risking the 1%. But anyway, all this to say that I'm confident for what's to come, and I happen to share my journey from the downfall, which it is, it is what it is. Like people are just seeing red wicks since December that I started sharing on YouTube, and when I actually started sharing in Discord was the same. I didn't want to start in Discord when everything was going well. I actually had a bad week where I overtraded and I took a lot of losses, and because of this bad behavior, I was like, I want to share this because I want to share the hard part about trading, and at the same time sharing was helping me be more accountable. And that bad week I just had, I would have not had it if I had to show all my trades after the fact, to someone. So sharing it stops me from having bad behavior and holds me accountable. And yeah, I'm just showing the downside of the trading. I'm sure everything is going to get back to normal very soon. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you get a good February. Cheers. Bye.